Welcome back, groovy people. If you're new here, my name is Zipporah and I talk all things music. And today we're going to talk about Tyler the Creator. So, there's currently a lot of controversy surrounding him and his past tweets, and I wanted to share my thoughts around the whole situation. So, this whole thing started with Tyler honoring D'Angelo's passing recently, and there were some white fans in his comments that were trolling and being very dismissive towards how Tyler was feeling towards D'Angelo, asking for albums, doing the typical troll behavior. So yeah, people started calling out these disgusting tweets, and this led to a discussion on Tyler's white fan base and their lack of support and love and care for Tyler's appreciation of black music. Then Tyler allegedly liked a tweet, and I'm going to read the tweet. So it said, Tyler's fan base hates black music despite Tyler himself having a very deep love and appreciation for it. Nigga has Charlie Wilson, Erykah Badu, DJ Drama, etc. collaborations, and they still refuse to engage with black art on any meaningful level. Very cannibalistic. So I've been a huge fan of Tyler since like 2012. I watched Loiter Squad faithfully. I loved Odd Future, Wolfgang. Like I was there for that whole beginning of their era and like Tyler's weird phases. I think he is one of the greatest musicians that we have in our time, and he has a very deep love and understanding of music that I feel like a lot of artists lack today or don't really have. And that's one of my favorite attributes about him. And if you really do know Tyler, he's always had crazy takes. Like none of this is brand new if you're not like already familiar with him. He says the most outrageous stuff, especially in the early to like 2010s. Yeah, he was just a weird, edgy artist. And he's not your typical like black musician. But despite this, I do think it's time that we actually have like a real conversation about this whole thing. When Tyler started his career, he really fed into his white core fan base. And I think they were attracted to his music because he was very edgy. When Tyler first started his career, he leaned into a more edgy style and like weird antics. And this attracted a core like white fan base that he started to feed into over time. He had a lot of like weird white humor and like dark edgy stuff that a lot of black people are not used to, that a lot of black people are not used to seeing or like engaging with. He was very young at the time. I think when he started he was like 17, 18, I think. But a lot of the tweets that people are referencing are from that time period. I think he was like 21, 22, 18, 19, like around those ages. But I know that he's currently trying to make a shift and he's really tapping more into black music and just shifting his persona, but he's not completely there yet. It hasn't been a full shift yet. And a lot of people have been saying that they think he needs to address this whole thing and take accountability for his tweets. And I feel very conflicted about that. I know that he's addressed his past lyrics in like some interviews. And then even in some music videos, he had a recent music video where he was killing off like his past personas, basically showing us kind of like a transformation into the new person or new artist that he is. Part of me does agree that he should take accountability and address these tweets. Like he has to accept that this is a fan base that you created. You can't just make a shift and then not act like these people don't exist. They were your core fan base when you were starting your career. I think really addressing this completely will allow him to make that full shift. Like Chromacopia, I feel like was the perfect project to really tap into that, like address everything, acknowledge like your part that you played into it. Kind of similar to how Kendrick did with Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers, like really taking that accountability. Like I would love to hear where his head was at during that time and like what things played into the thoughts that he was having or maybe his actions. He could get very creative with it. He's a very creative person. But then the other half of me is like, even if he does address it or doesn't address it, people will still be unhappy at the end of the day. People are still going to find stuff to complain about. People still are going to dig up old tweets and try to resurface these same conversations. Maybe even 10 years from now, 5 years from now, who knows? Like, this is a very reoccurring theme, especially on Twitter. We do all have a past, and if you're working to make change for yourself, I don't think it really matters what other people say or feel, as long as you're doing the work and you're not repeating those same behaviors. I feel like if you're just trying to be a better person, I think that's totally okay. There are artists who don't address anything. Beyonce never addressed anything. Kendrick never addresses anything. Like, there's a lot of artists who stay out of the limelight. So he could go that route, but at the same time, I don't know. It's very conflicting. I think it's also important to acknowledge the time period as well. So this was like the early 2010s, and if you were there on Twitter during that like 2010, 9 through like 15, I want to say 14, Twitter was a very crazy place, very unfiltered. People were just sharing their thoughts, like there was no filter whatsoever. They were not as socially aware as we are now in this day and age. But I feel like a lot of people who are complaining and like digging up these things were not really there for early Twitter. So of course you're going to be outraged by seeing some of the stuff that he's saying. And I'm not saying it's okay whatsoever, but this is not brand new, especially if you were there for that time. I think it's also important to acknowledge that people do change over time. So a lot of these tweets were from when he was in his early 20s, late teens. And I want y'all to really sit and think about who you were and how you were during those times. Like, I'm 26. I am not the same person that I was at 21, 20, 19, 18. I would hope nobody is the same as they were during those time periods. But, you know, you go through life changes and experiences that shift your mindset and like change who you are. And that can be for the better or for the worse. But I feel like in Tyler's case, he is trying to work towards being a better person. It's just a weird space right now. But yeah, I don't know. He's 34 now. I'm sure he's not the same person that he was at 21. I would really hope not. But I don't know him personally, so I can't really speak on everything. But based on the music and the way he's evolved with his craft, and he doesn't do the same antics that he does before, I really do think he is evolving as a person. But yeah, I'm curious to see what happens next or what comes out of this. What are y'all's thoughts on this whole situation? Do you guys feel like he should address the tweets, take accountability, or just move on and continue to be better? Let me know in the comments, but I'll catch you guys in the next video.